I would say the one word I would use to explain what it's been like being a parent living here in Germany is intimidated. Hello you guys and welcome back to the Life in Germany channel. If you've not been here before, my name is Jenna and I am a Canadian who's been living here in Germany since 2014. I am a mommy of two. I currently have a 4-year-old son and a 3-month-old baby. So I found this topic to be relatively suiting at the moment because a lot of people have been asking me, what is it like being a parent here in Germany? Is it different from North America? Well, I can definitely tell you that it is very, very different. But I wanted to go into this topic a little bit more into detail today just to kind of, I guess, share my opinion with you guys. That doesn't necessarily mean that this is gonna be the same for everybody in every single town and city that you live in Germany. It's just my experience that I've had over the last 4 years of being a parent here in Germany. Now we could go really in depth into some of like the technical topics and more legal topics of parenting here in Germany. Don't even get me started on the idea of not being able to homeschool my kid in Germany. I know many Germans have a very, very strong opinion. I also have a strong opinion on this topic if you are a suitable parent to be teaching your child, maybe if you even have a teaching degree. However, that's for another day. Today, I'm gonna talk about some of the more day-to-day things that I experience as a parent living here in Germany. So the first thing I want to talk about, and maybe this is more popular in Düsseldorf than some of the other cities. I don't know if you guys live in Germany, you can let me know. But here in Düsseldorf, there is something called like an Okö-Mama. Basically a mom who is very earthy. This sometimes isn't necessarily a good term here in Germany. Sometimes they're like, oh, you know, another one of those Öko parents, whatever. I like to say that I find myself somewhere in between. I love being outdoors. I like to try to feed my kids healthy food, although if I'm being honest as a parent, really, like I admire all of the parents who are able to do that, and this is very, very common here in Germany where they have very strict diets. At our kita, the topic of sugar and whether or not the kids are allowed to have süßes Frühstück, a sweet breakfast on Fridays or even just once a month, is a very hot topic here. Maybe it's changed in Canada. Back in the day when I was a kid, sweet breakfast was not even thought about. Of course I wasn't eating junk food every day, but I'm pretty sure my diet was like mac and cheese and hot dogs my whole life, and I didn't turn out that bad. An Öko-Mama or an Öko parent would basically dress their kids up in a lot of bio cotton, organic cotton. They're outdoors a lot. They're feeding their kids very healthy food. They typically don't watch a lot of TV. If they have toys in their house, they might have a minimal amount of toys, and they are likely to be made out of wood. I think this is a trend all over the world. I just find it to be more intense here in Düsseldorf. Of course, you've got other parenting styles as well, or whatever you'd like to call it. Montessori parenting here and helicopter parents here, but this Öko parent is very, very popular, or a very hot topic here in Düsseldorf. And when we're talking about watching TV or being on the computer, this is something that every family has to figure out on their own, of course. I just find that in Germany, people are a lot more against the computer and against watching the TV. A lot of kids that I know are heavily restricted to either 30 minutes a day of TV or nothing at all, perhaps just in the mornings on weekends, but they're very, very strict about this. I think everybody has an idea of what type of parent they would like to be, but then after you've actually raised a child, you realize, okay, there's certain things that help our relationship, make sure it's a healthy one, and make sure that mama and papa get a little bit of time for themselves as well. But I'm not usually as strict on this topic as other people are. I know my husband and I typically butt heads on this topic as well because he was raised watching a lot less TV than I was. My mom was a single mom raising 3 kids, so can you judge her? Not really. However, I watched a lot of TV as a kid, and I have to tell you nowadays, despite having a TV in my bedroom, I actually don't watch TV all that often. I very, very rarely watch TV. When I do, it's like one episode of Netflix. Versus my husband, I find him like every second that he has a chance to just breathe and calm down, he's on his phone watching silly YouTube videos, watching TV shows. That is the way that he calms himself. Cool. To each their own. In my opinion, you can't shelter them forever. Of course, there's a million other arguments to this topic, and I know there's probably going to be a lot of hate comments. I just wanted to mention that this topic is very debatable in Germany, whereas in Canada, it's probably, yeah, okay, we're going to try to have our kid not watch too much TV, but it's not the be-all end-all that it sometimes is here in Germany. Let's jump a little bit into parental leave. I won't go into the legalities of it. However, in Canada, thankfully, we do actually have a lot more parental leave than we used to back when my mom was raising children. Typically, women tend to take about 1 year of parental leave in Canada. I'd say that's pretty common here in Germany as well. So while we might be on the same track in Canada and Germany in regards to how much time the woman takes on parental leave, how much time the man takes is actually a little bit different. I tend to find that men here in Germany actually take a lot more parental leave than men back home in Canada. It's quite common for the father to take about 2 to 3 months parental leave, and funny enough, it often involves travel, whereas I find in Canada, people don't travel as often on their parental leave. It's more for parental leave, where I find in Germany, the Germans find every reason to travel and get out and explore, and parental leave is like the #1 get out of work free card, I guess, to go travel the world. We did it with our son, and it was nice. It was wonderful. I heavily regretted it afterwards because it was also exhausting. We traveled all of Canada. We traveled the whole west coast of America. We went to Jamaica. We went to Spain. We went too many places. And then this time I said, okay, you know what? Our parental leave is really gonna be parental leave. That's it, that's all. But when you're an international and you come from Canada, well, chances are we're probably not gonna stay put. My sister lives in the Yukon. My brother lives in British Columbia. So at the end of the day, we're probably still gonna be traveling a decent amount, but I'm gonna try to tone it down a little bit more. Whereas a German family might actually hop in a Wohnwagen in their camper or RV and travel around the world for a year with their newborn. I admire this. I think it's amazing, and I think if you can do it, do it. But oh my gosh, you guys, I am exhausted. When we're talking about daycare or kita in this case here in Germany, I find that in Canada, kids actually go a lot longer, a lot later. Schedules are a lot more flexible in Canada. They usually work with your work hours, whereas in Germany, I find like they're very strict, saying you could drop your kid off, you know, between 9 and 9:30, and you have to pick them up between 2 and 2:30. It could be a little bit later. Of course, we have a time slot at our kita until 4:30. When I say that, and you think of the reality over in Canada, some of their daycares are actually open until like 6, 7, 8 p.m. because people have different working hours. And in Germany, it's kind of like well then, you're shit out of luck, I'm sorry. You know, you have to change your schedule with your boss and not the schedule with the kita or with the daycare. With my first child, I found this really tricky to really understand and get used to. And I honestly can't even imagine my boss back in Canada having been like, yeah, sure, no problem. You can leave 3 hours early from work because you have a child. It just wouldn't happen. But I find here employers in general are a lot more flexible, let you take a lot more time for your children, let you change your schedule around to make it work. Of course, granted, that's not with everybody, but it's just, I have seen this happen time and time again, and I'm always very relieved to hear that employers can be so flexible, because raising children isn't easy, you know, and things go wrong. Kids get sick, kitas close down, pandemics start. I really do love this aspect in Germany as well. Not to mention daycare in Germany or kita in Germany, or even the Tagesmutter or Tagesvater, which is like a day nanny. These tend to be a lot more affordable in Germany, and the government often does pay a significant portion of these fees. It all depends on what city you live in and when they start to pay this fee and how much of a fee they will cover based on how much you make. I've mentioned this in a video before about, you know, you're a German mom when you take your kid to the playground even in a pouring rain. Moms are hardcore here, guys. Like, they are outdoors with their kids all the time. Most kids know how to ride a bike at the age of like 2 or 3. Here's my son at the age of 4 on training wheels, and I'm like so proud of him. And then I look around and there's like 2-year-olds. They are hardcore. Like, kids learn how to enjoy the nature and be outdoors a lot earlier here in Germany than we do in Canada. Maybe that's because they don't watch so much TV here. But what I also find really cute at the playground, when I had my son and he was not yet at the Tagesmutter, I think he went at about 1.5, maybe a bit later, I was at the playground every single day, rain or shine. And now I didn't actually see the parents there because the parents were oftentimes at work. I saw the kids with their grandparents, and this just broke my heart because I just wished that my mom could be here doing the same thing with my kiddos, and it was just so sweet. You know, they interact with their grandparents on such a more personal level here than we do in North America. I find a lot of families in Canada don't spend so much time with their families, although I will say in Canada we often have much larger families than they do here in Germany. Families tend to be a lot smaller, but also a lot closer knit. I would say the one word I would use to explain what it's been like being a parent living here in Germany, being a foreign parent living here in Germany, is intimidated. I am really intimidated by German parents, but I also really respect them and really appreciate them. But I also want to, you know, fit in, I guess. Like, it doesn't matter how old you get, you still want to fit in. I still want to make mommy friends here in Germany, and I find that the topics that they discuss are topics that I've slowly had to adapt to because it might be a little bit different back in Canada where I grew up. You go to the playground and you see everybody walking around in these little bio cotton suits, and they're like 200 euros, but apparently they keep your kids super, super warm. Then you see them bringing their wooden toys, or you go over to their houses and it's all like Montessori approach, you know, like, I don't know, I just feel intimidated. I know I'm a good mom. I know I'm a great mom. It's just really intimidating to see other parents and also having to feel like I need to speak the German language perfect. And when I'm at play dates, constantly switching between German and English is really intimidating. But I love being a parent here in Germany. I do often wonder, what would it be like if all of my mommy friends spoke English? I would probably be a lot more open because speaking the German language, I find that my vocabulary is very limited. You know, my German's not perfect, so it's really hard for me to express myself and really feel like I am me. I'm being myself. A lot of you have also been asking the question, what has it been like for me raising children without having my Canadian family here? That's a whole nother topic in itself again, and if more of you want to see that video, then let me know and I can definitely chit chat about it one day. Otherwise, I think I've talked your ear off quite enough today. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank, you guys, und wie immer, bis später.